So, Dr. Newman, you're saying that everybody wears a mask?
That's correct, Wendy. We all wear masks, metaphorically speaking. We suppress the id, our darkest desires, and adopt a more socially acceptable image.
It's time for a tear jerk. I will be talking about Jim Carrey and his spiritual revelations. I will put my own perspective and experience about stuff he's saying and try to add my own point of view and how I see this. This clip is a mashup about him talking about depression and ego. So let's dive into it.
I used to be a guy who was experiencing the world, and now I feel like the world and the universe experiencing a guy.
When the curtain goes down at the end of the drama, the hero and the villain step out hand in hand, and the audience applaud both.
So this was Alan Watts, infamous philosopher. He was talking about life being a theater. When the show ends, both good people and bad people are applauded as equal players.
Because they know that the hero role and the villain role are only masks.
As an actor, you play characters, and then if you go deep enough into those characters, you realize that your own character is pretty thin to begin with, you know? And then you suddenly have this separation and go, well, who's Jim Carrey? Oh, he doesn't exist, actually.
Oh boy, this brings back memories. For some 3 or 4 years ago, I cut myself off from the conventional way of living. I escaped the career ladder. I escaped the cubicle. I didn't feel I belonged there. I had this sense of vacuum, being in a limbo and not connecting with anybody in the working place. And the funny thing with that is, the moment you take your first step towards betterment, towards finding your true self, you realize how painful that road is. You become detached from everyone from your previous life. All your past friends, all your old friends that you had during this fantasy-like life. A life filled with a 9-to-5 job, a life filled with same old activities. And the moment you shift your focus into finding some sense in this damn life, you start denying the other people their identity because they stop recognizing themselves in you. You make them question their own choices, and they cannot have it like that. They cannot let you question their life choices and the ways they have perceived this world. Separation becomes inevitable because like attracts like.
And at a certain point, I realized, hey, wait a second, you know, if it's so easy to lose Jim Carrey, who the hell is Jim Carrey?
There's just a relative manifestation of consciousness appearing, and then somebody gave him a bunch of ideas. They gave him a name and a religion and a nationality, and he clustered those together into something that's supposed to be a personality. And it doesn't actually exist. And none of that stuff, if you drill down, is real.
I have mentioned these truths in several videos on this channel. That's why I preach about detachment all the time. Detachment from your nationality, from your background, from your religion, from the color of your skin, from your weight, from your height, from your shape, wherever traditions or identifications or societal pressures that you feel that you have upon you. All of those things are only slowing you down. You cannot realize your potential before you start seeing real you. Becoming that onion and peeling away the layers of identifications. Every small concept that you attached on yourself becomes a part of that shackle that holds you back, that makes you rigid, that makes you unadaptive. And to find a meaning, to find a purpose, to find success in this physical form, you have to let it go.
And so you see behind the stage too, there is the green room, where after the play is over and before it begins, the masks are taken off.
Dressing happens, doing hair happens, Interviewing happens, and it happens without me, without the idea of a me.
You know, it's really, you know, the fact that we are already enlightened, we're already complete, and it's just realizing that you're complete. Once you realize you're complete, then this life...
It's funny that many people who reach a certain level of wisdom start to express themselves in artistic ways. As you saw, Jim Carrey was painting pictures, and I feel in the same way actually. But the truth is, before you can do that, you have to own your time. There's a video on this channel about the hierarchy of needs, Maslow's pyramid of needs. You can check it here. It's all about satisfying your primal needs, like eating, sleeping, having a roof over your table. And before doing that, before reaching that state, it's very difficult to see clearly what you have to do in this life in order to find fulfillment. Hunger blinds you. Primal needs blind you. And before reaching ultimate vision of clarity, you have to satisfy those needs. You have to quench your thirst for the basics. And when you reach that stage, it becomes very revealing. It's like mountains slipping down from your shoulder, and you no longer feel that void within that you have to feel in order to find some kind of peace.
And everything in it becomes a play of form, something to toy with and play with and make something good out of.
It's what's happening right now inside everybody is they're going, who am I? And they're depressed, you know, a lot of people, because they're trying to hold up an image in the world. And that's what depression is. You know, people go like, oh, Jim's been depressed and stuff. Well, yeah, I was depressed when I was trying to be the Wizard of Oz instead of the sweaty guy behind the curtain. But now I know that Oz is a character, you know?
Yeah, depression is a wishful thinking that we want something to happen, or we see a world in a certain way. We wish for it to be true, but reality shows otherwise. And it becomes a battle, internal battle, which causes you emotional pain, and you get stuck in this time frame, in this thought pattern, resisting to life itself. But in reality, outside of your mind, everything is peaceful. Everything is meant to be. You want to know the most extreme and potent way to escape depression and anxiety? I'll tell you, being at peace with what is. Not having gadgets, not having fancy cars, not having a big apartment, not having any wishes, any ambitions. But on the other hand, we human beings have this human experience and we cannot deny it. And we always want to grow. That's why we have ambitions. And we have to find balance between having those ambitions and not sabotaging our spiritual nature.
Everybody walks around and they go like, why am I depressed? Well, it's because you're trying to be something for the world, you know? And as soon as you let that go, better things happen because they're just happening. And there's been a series of kind of awakenings I've had in my life, and you know, people chalk it up to depression and all that stuff. I think that, you know, grief and sadness and all those things are the ticket home to nothing.
We're always trying to keep up appearances. We're always trying to appear something in order to gain status, in order to gain reputation, in order to gain power. And that's our biological nature. It's understandable. We're human beings. We have this human experience. It's coded in us to climb up this hierarchical pyramid. But what the most get it wrong is that they think it's the end point, that the material power, material success will give you some kind of a peace of mind. But you have to evolve beyond that, beyond the physical. That's the next level of your personal growth.
I think that was a part of the process. There's been several other awakenings, and yet still I have a lot of egoic attachments that pull my attention and focus. I think, you know, the right marriage with the right character and the right guy who's going through something is essential.
And as he said, sadness, depression is a ticket. It's a trauma that makes your eyes to be opened. When you're out and about, chasing status, material wealth, power, you are not focused on who you are. Because you think in these time patterns, you're strategizing, you're not being present. And trauma, suffering, is a perfect teacher to kick you in the butt, to force you to realize that there's something beyond what you are seeing.
And so that behind the scene That is to say, in reality, under the surface, you are all the actor. Marvelously skilled in playing many parts and in getting lost in the mazes of your own minds and the entanglements of your own affairs, as if this were the most urgent thing going. But behind the scenes, in the green room, you always have a very tiny sneaking suspicion that you might not be the you that you think you are.
That's exactly what happens to every person. You're out there trying to put different layers on your persona. You're creating this shell of what other people perceive you as. You're this successful guy, you're a businessman, you are an engineer, you're a doctor. You are tall, you are dark-skinned, you are bright-skinned, you are sexy, you are ugly, you are strong, you are weak. All of those are attachment identifications. We are playing parts that have been written by somebody else. All of those social constructions, societal norms, how we create these civilizations, someone else have decided something about you before you were even born. Think about it. The key takeaway from this video is to ask yourself, are you living your life or somebody else's? Hussein, out.